All right, hello students. Good evening. It is exactly 5:35 p.m. on my clock. No, that means we have to start our lesson session for this evening. So, is everybody ready to listen? Okay, so please tell your other classmates no, nga magsulod na kasi we still have a lot of discussion to do for this session. So, before we start discussing our lesson for this evening, I would like to would like you to send hearts sa ating in-code messages so that I can be informed that everybody is ready to listen. Sige daw, send hearts. If everybody is ready na good to listen to our lesson for this evening. Okay, hello? Hello? Okay, very good. Yes, good evening. So, tatlo lang. How about the others? Okay, very good. Thank you for everybody's feedback. No? So, for this evening, we're going to discuss um, the part 3. So again, no, hello students and welcome back to our class. This is grade 324 Fire Technology and Arts Investigation, and this is Miss Malaya teaching. So again, no, this is week 8 to 9, part 4. Okay? Part 3 pala. Week 8 to 9, part 3. So for this one, we will continue the telltale signs, no? Continuation. So, yung mga halata ng mga bagay-bagay na makaingon ta nga arson yun di siya nga sunog kasi last time we started and we ended no doon sa mga signs no nga makaingon ta at first glance ay arson ni siya. So in continuation, we have this for number 6, we have the size of fire. It's very important no nga makabalot taon sa kadako ang sunog. Kasi nga malalaman natin 'yan um, in relation to the building. Okay? For example, no, what type alarm was used, no? Anong oras na receive yung time of arrival ng ating first responder sa fire scene, at saka, no, bakit um, malalaman natin yung material ng burnt building kasi what if semento na siya o dali ra kay siya nasunog? Okay, there's a big question mark with that, no? So, we also need to have the check the flames, anong kulay ng flames, and also the smoke also, no? So, malalaman natin yan doon. If those are present, matingalat itong hatag na ko sa inyo nga presentation last time nga na ay types of flame, colors of flame dito kung sa siya nga color, sa nga combustible material ang gigamit. Ato, so ma-determine po to if nagamit siya og accelerants or wala. Okay? So for this one, no, direction of the travel. So, 'di ba dapat kung naisunog isa ra jud na siya ka agian kay pa isa ra man nag-agi ng mga sunog. Now, what if marami ang sunog, point of origin ng fire, 'di ba? Yun yung mga definition of terms na i-discuss natin for the last meetings natin, no? So, ano mangyayari is that ngano man nga ang left side nga dingding is ang travel niya is kanang ka left side, no? And the other one is ka right side. So matitingala ang investigator, ana as an investigator. Questionably, there is something fishy about the fire. Okay? Naglahi-lahi ang sunog nganing pop up sa building. Apa, considering the construction no, of the building. Semento ang building, pero nga naman, daghan kay siya sunog-sunog sa different parts of the building. Di ba? Okay, questionable yon kung ano yung mga ginamit na material sa building natin. Is it is it made of wood, di ba? Nalalaman natin yun based sa type ng flame, type ng smoke na nalabas doon, no? Na-excrete ng fire. Okay? So, yung mga surrounding ng mga elements of the fire, no? Bakit paspas kaayo nilamoy ang kalayo nga semento man ang building, 'di ba? Paano nyo malalaman yun nga semento ang building? Kasi 'di ba naatay building plan, building construction plan, di ba? Familiar sa inyo katong na-discuss na to last time, ano kinahanglan nga na ay building plan. Ang usa ka building bago mo tukod, nga dili i-approve sa atong BFP if in case nga mopatukod sila. Dapat kabalutana. Okay? So, malalaman natin kung ano ang building, what materials are the building made of. Intensity, gaano ba kalakas yung heat na binigay ng fire? Init kaayo didto ah. Okay? So, something is fishy if makasimho ta didto og some accelerants. Okay? Okay, so dapat sa investigator must be observant as means of seeing, smelling, observation of the place. Okay? So we have the odor, smell. Ugoy, mga gasolina. Kita mga tao, kabalugid taon si bao sa gasoline. Perminti mata makasimutan. Alcohol, kerosene, other flammable liquids na may be used as an accelerant. No? So, some characteristics of those one are familiar also with the arsonist. So, makaingon siya nga, dali akong sakpan na ni bay, kay gamit ko gasolina bay. Di ba? So, na kailangan, very, very fast thinker si arson investigator, pati si firefighter nga, ma-preserve niya maayo ang atuang evidences in the area. Okay? Now we also have the condition of the content. So, we have these persons who will try na sunugon ang ilang balay, ang ilahang building, but ginatanggal nila ang unod sa building. Questionable, kasi nga, some of it na ay sentimental value, some of it na ay monetary value. Ang ilang tuyoon nagsunog is ang building itself para makuha ang insurance. Okay? So, usually po, kung mga business owners, gina-remove ang katunga sa materials nga ginabaligya niya. For example, mga baligyaan ng mga sanina, yung laos ng mga sanina, kaya wala na halin, old stock. Ito mga old stock, ipabilin to nila. Ang new stock, tanggalo nila. So, questionable. Bodega sa mga saninaan, tapos wala sulod na sanina. Asa man gid ang mga sanina, ani. Tuada ay kitanggalan muna sa ato ang mga katong arsonist nato, nanigurado sila. Okay? So, be observant, no? Kung na-fire nga, uy, questionable, nga walay unod ang bodega sa saninaan. Uy, nga walay unod ang mall. Uy, nga walay naman yung unod ang church, ang simbahan, ang school, or any building. Pwede masunog, di ba? Anything that you bring fire on with malicious intent is arson. May it be boat, may it be sakyanan, motor, anything. Nagisunog nimo nga na kay malicious intent is arson. Okay? So, yung ating doors at saka windows, usually jud, pag naatay mga arsonist, paniguradoon nila na ang ilang mga bintana, ang ilang mga putahan is na ay harang para dayon dili makasulod si fireman. I-obstruct nila kumbaga ang dalan. Ang portahan ang window. Di ba? So, those are signs nga dili nila gusto nga palungon ang ugdaw nga kalayo. Okay? So, we also have the other suspicious circumstances, no? Ibig sabihin, yung ating firefighters should also have good observations on those people surrounding the fire. Wala ta kabalo ka ng mga bystander din ha, basit mo na nagsunog sa kalayo. And maybe sa atong firefighter, makadiscover siya mga objects of interest. What are objects of interest? Those are evidences na makagamit nato sa ebidensya on the court. Okay? So, maybe there are mechanical fire setting devices, no? Usually, ka ng mga cellphones, ka ng mga trigger, no? Mag-alarm, mag-blow tayo, di ba? So, kinakailangan, i-check na siya ni firefighter, di ba? Mag-overhaul, no? So, detailed check ng ating area. Baka may mga naiwan pang mga sunog. And baka may mga ebidensya tayong pwedeng makuha to guide us, no, during the investigation. So, lahat ng sunog, I tell you students, are accidental fires. Dili ni mo na siya iingon nga arson dayon. all fires are assumed as accidental fires unless meron tayong mga ebidensya na nagpapakita that that fire has malicious intent. Okay? That is based on the law that later on we will discuss. Okay? So, di ba, kagaya ng mga piniriso or ang mga tao nga suspect, di ba? They are considered innocent unless proven guilty by the court. Di ba? Ano po ng fires? All fires are accidental unless ma-prove natin malicious intent para gawin siyang arson. Now, we have here the legal aspects of fire investigation. So again, no, arson and other crimes involving destruction. So for arson, no, let's redefine again, no, intentional malicious destruction of property by fire. Property, it may be your own property, it may be other people's own property. Okay? Kahit kanino man yan. Basta kay malicious intent na sunugo na siya, that is arson. Okay? Now, we have here the legal aspects of arson or fire investigation. So, kinakailangan, it is the concern of our fire investigators, no, na i-prove na to ang malicious intent sa atong offender. Otherwise, wala tayong crime. Pareha sa criminal intent, no? So, kung sa crime pa na siya, normal nga mga crimes, okay, i-prove na to nga naatay intent po natin mga evidences, natin probable causes. Diri sa fire, malicious intent sa offender unsa ang root, unsa ang pinakalalong nga rason nga nang gikumit niya. Okay? Again, no, ang law will presume all fire are accidental. Accident meaning wala gituyo. Hence, kailangan ipakita natin ang criminal designs, no? Should be shown. Okay? So, yung fire natin is caused by accident or criminal designs must be shown. And again, no, fire caused by accident or negligence does not constitute arson. Kung nasunog lang natin kay nabilin ang kandila, nabilin ang saksakanan, wala na palong, wala na ibot, wala na dilaob, no? That is accidental fire. Okay, dili na siya arson. Again, no, ang arson tinuyuan na siya maliciously na akay plano nga sunugon gyud na siya. So, ano yung basis natin na criminal liability in arson? So, we have, no, for this one, kind of character of the building burned. Gaano nakatagal ang building, pila na ka-years ang building, okay? Ano yung, um, unsa siyang kind of building, commercial building ba siya, school, is it a dwelling building, at number two, yung location ng building, saan siya nakatirik, no? Number three, extent of the value of damage, gaano kalaki ang danyos. And number four, whether inhabited or not, it's either nabay nagpuyo or walay nagpuyo. So we have here the RA 9514, no, which is the revised Fire Code of the Philippines of 2008. No. It is an act establishing a comprehensive fire code in the Philippines. No. So giwala niya ang dating PD number 1185 ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo katong December 19, 2008. So, ang ating new fire code is aiming, no, to promote economic development through the prevention and suppression of all kinds of destructive fires and to boost the fire service of a profession. So, the law is consolidation of Senate Bill number 2553. So, again, ang ating revised fire code of the Philippines is the RA Act 9514. So, we also have here the authority or power of the BFP chief. So, di ba yung may pinakamataas na ranggo? Okay? Or, siya ang head. Okay? So, ang kanyang pwedeng gawin? Pwede siyang magpasarado ng mga building, okay, nga, gi-declare as fire hazards. And, yung walang mga permits, clearances, certificate nga gi-issue sa local authorities nga nagpadayon silang business, nga nag-open silang business, maski wala sila licenses. Okay? Now, also po, pwede po si BFP chief mo ingon nga i-remove lahat ng mga hazardous materials na nakikita sa establishments. For example, ang ilang establishment is a restaurant, pero daghan kay sila gasolina dito nga gitambak or gi-imbak. Dili na siya pwede nga kuan kay that's very disastrous kung naay mo sunog dito ang fire or naay mo dilaog dito kay syempre gas gud na siya. So manikamot sila nga as much as possible safety ang mga occupants dito or ang mga tao dito ang magpuyo. Okay? So, as well as we have the number three, no? Yung stoppage of work structures, no? Nga wala pa nahuman nga mga building pero gipauna ang pagpa-construct kay wala sila nag-follow sa ato ang katong construction plan, di ba? Di ba sabi ko sa inyo na hanay building plan na dapat i-follow. So, if wala siya na-follow, then ipahuno ang construction ni BFP chief. So meron naman tayo ditong other significant provisions no ng ating law no. So yung ating increase of administrative fine no from 12,000 to 50,000 for violation of the provisions of the fire code. And also for number two, if failure to correct the deficiency no or abate the fire hazard, ito wa tanay follow sa katong dapat buhaton nato nga fire hazard ng mga buhatonon no from 20,000 to 100,000 yan no, with punishment of imprisonment, mapriso ka no from 1 to 6 years no. So in addition, bayaran nimo tong damages nimo sa mga biktima no if ang violation mo ay nag-lead ng loss of life talaga at saka damage to property. No, kay wala man ka ni-follow. So dapat ni-follow na lang jud. And for number three, no, we impose accountability. Accountable ato mga public officials nga nag-sign dito sa business permit and all. And employees, no, usually reprimand, suspension, or removal as well as criminal penalties no, for negligence, malfeasance, misfeasance, and performing their sworn duties to the country. Again, malfeasance, please remember this, you are not doing your work. Misfeasance, you did your work but you did it wrongly. Malfeasance, you did a work that is not in relation to your work. Okay? You did a wrongdoing that is not in line with your work. Okay? So don't forget the terminologies that we are talking about no, kasi you can still use that no, on your higher years at saka for the rest of your lives. So also for number four, no, those public officials who violates the law no, will be punished by jail with a term of 6 months to 6 years and a fine not more than 100,000 or both. So, criminally liable ka, administratively liable ka pa, may fines ka pa na babayaran. Okay? So, in the near future, if you want to be a part of the BFP, so you should do your duty in the correct way, in the right manner, para dili mo ma-question ang iyong credibility. For number five, they require the private fire volunteers, no? Katong pwede mo tabang during fire. And fire practitioners should undergo a mandatory training and competency evaluation to be conducted thereby BFP under the operational control of the BFP Fire Ground Commander. So, sige, for a while muna ha. I will just have something. Okay, let's continue. So we have here the PD number 1613. Okay? The amending laws on arson. Okay? Amending the laws on arson. So we have here for section 1 na kahit sinong tao na mag-try na magsunog of any property ng kahit na sino shall be punished by prison mayor. Okay? So also, i-penalty din natin ito, okay, ng prison mayor yung mga tao nga gisunog bud ang ilahang own na property no, which will cause or expose to danger the life and property of another. For section 2 naman, no, we have destructive arson. The penalty of reclusion temporal in its maximum period to reclusion perpetua shall be imposed by burning the following: yung mga ammunition factory, paggawaan ng bala, and other establishments no explosives, inflammable or combustible materials as stored no mga gasolinahan imong sunugon, ang kanang mga tangki sa siling, okay, kana yung mga flammable chemicals, combustible materials imong sunugon. So any archive no or kanang museum, public or private man, or any edifice devoted to culture, education, or social services, no? As well as simbahan or place of worship or katong mga tao nga asa sila usually nag-assemble or nagatapok So for number 4 naman, no, any train, airplane or aircraft, vessel or watercraft, or conveyance for transportation of persons or property. It may be a tricycle, a bike, okay? Anything, no? Any man, any property. May musunugon with malice and intent, no? Mga makagain ka or naka-intention jud. So that's arson. And for this listed numbers, no, up until 5, 6, 7, you will have the penalty of reclusion temporal in its maximum period to reclusion perpetua. So for number 5, yung mga evidence, mga building natin nga nagatago og ebidensya, no? Sa legislative, judicial, administrative, or other official proceedings like court, prosecutor's office, kana na yung mga ebidensya. Isunog nimo. So, dili na siya pwede, no? As well as ang mga hospital, mga hotel, dormitories, lodging houses, house tenements, shopping centers, public or private man, no? Or public or private markets pod, no? Theater or movie houses or similar places or buildings. So, as well as yung ating shopping centers, no? Bawal na siya. At saka yung dwelling, no? It's either napuy-an ba na siya or wala napuy-an, no? Mga balay. Situated in a populated or congested area. For Section 3 naman, other cases or forms of arson, no, the penalty of reclusion temporal or to reclusion perpetua shall be imposed if the property burned is any of the following. No? If the building now is used as offices, no, for the government or any of its agencies, no, any inhabited house or dwelling. Wala pa na puy-an. For number 3 naman, any industrial establishments, shipyard, oil well or depot, mine shaft, platform or tunnel, as well as any plantation, farm, pasture land, growing crop, grain field, orchard, bamboo grove or forest, any rice mill, sugar mill, cane mill, or mill central, and letter C, any railway or bus station, airport, wharf, or warehouse. So for Section 4, we have the special aggravating circumstances in arson. The penalty is in any case of arson shall be imposed in its maximum period. So we have here, no, if committed with intent to gain, no, if committed for the benefit of another, if the offender is motivated by spite or hatred o kasuko against the owner or occupant, no, of the property burned, if also committed by a syndicate. Ano yung committed ng syndicate? It is carried by a group of 3 or more persons. Ang sindikato ng tawag sa ila. For Section 5 naman, where death results from arson, if by reason or on the occasion of arson death results, no, ang penalty naman natin, reclusion perpetua to death shall be imposed. So, ang ginamin ani, namatay. It's because of nasunog nimo ang balay, kinakay malicious intent, and that's arson. Okay? So, namatay ang occupant no, inside the building. Kaganina for Section 5. So, for Section 6 naman, we have the prima facie evidence or the prima facie evidence no, of arson. Any of the following circumstances shall constitute a prima facie evidence of arson. So, if ating fire daw kay nagsimula simultaneously sa one part of the building, more than one part, wala ilahi ang point of origin niya. As well as no, is if substantial amount of flammable substances or materials are stored within the building, not necessarily in the business of the offender or for household use. Matingala ka ang sasulod sa balay. Balay lang na normal, daghan kay gasolina and kerosene. Oh, questionable yan. It could be no arson jud na siya no that will indicate a prima facie evidence for the arson. For number 3 naman, if gasoline, kerosene, petroleum, or other flammable substances or materials soaked with their containers thereof, or any mechanical, electrical, chemical, or electronic contrivance designed to start a fire, ashes, or traces of any of the foregoing are found in the ruins or premises of the building or property. Ibig sabihin, no, matingala ka na ay mga gihumulan dito nga mga nuog nga daghang kay kanang gasolina, petroleum, no, di ba? Questionable kaayo. That could be accelerants. Mas padali ang sunog ana dito sa sulod sa building nga gisunog. As well as katong mga nagiingon ako sa inyo nga mga mechanical devices na maka-trigger na pwedeng sunog, di ba? So that could also be, no, used as prima facie evidence for arson. And for number four naman, if ating building or property is insured, insurance, substantially more than its actual value at the time of the issuance of the policy, mas didako na ang insurance sa building kay saan tawag ni kanang kumbaga ba ning tungod sa kadugayon mas nidako na ang insurance. So there's a big possibility no nga maningkamot jud ta nga sulod ang building pa ko ang insurance. Okay, kaya di man na makuha ang insurance unless nakaabot kag pila ka years, unless nga naabot nimo to siya nga certain nga nga pag-increase mga insurances. Okay, so we also have here if number five, no, if during a lifetime of the corresponding fire insurance policy, more than two fires have occurred in the same or other premises owned or under the control of the offender and or insured. Matingala mo nga sa isa ka tuig, ikaduha, nasud na sunog siya nga building. Unsa man joy kuan ani reason, no? Attempt number one, attempt number two. So pag attempt number two, tingala na mong imbestigahan og tarong ay okay. Arson di ay prima facie evidence. For number six, if shortly before the fire, a substantial portion of the effects insured and stored in the building or property had been withdrawn from the premises except in the ordinary course of businesses. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Matingala mo nga nung wala man dituwa ang mga sulod sa building. Okay? Be observant, no, firefighters and future fire investigators. Uy, anong wala sulod ang building? Ay, okay. Kay di ay arson. No? Di ba? So, dapat observant si firefighter din yung apart, pati si fire investigator. So for number seven, if a demand for money or other valuables consideration was made where the fire in exchange for the desistance of the offender or for the safety of the person or property of the victim. Okay? And for section 7 naman, conspiracy to commit arson. If conspiracy to commit arson shall be punished by prison mayor in its minimum period. Ibig sabihin ng conspiracy, ibig sabihin nagsabot mo, conspire. Okay? So for section 8 naman, confiscation of object of arson. So yung building which is the object of arson, including the land, katong nasunog, nga building, pag napatunayan, nga arson to siya, pwede na siya embargohon unless ma-prove ni owner na wala gid siya participation sa sa arson due to diligence on his part. Okay? So pwede yan siyang gawin. Section 9 naman, we have the repelling clause. So the provisions of Article 320 to 326B of the RPC and all laws, executive orders, rules, and regulations, no, or parts thereof inconsistent with the provisions of the decree are hereby repealed or amended accordingly. So for RA number 7659 naman, Act defining heinous crimes and reimposing no, the death penalty law. So for Article 320, the RPC is hereby amended to read as follows. We have the Article 320, which is destructive arson, and the penalty of reclusion perpetua to death shall be imposed upon any person who shall burn no one or more buildings or edifices consequent to one single act of burning or as a result of simultaneous burning or committed on several or different occasions. So for number two naman, any building or of public or private ownership devoted to the public, no, in general, or where people usually gather or congregate for a definite purpose, such as but not limited to the official government function or business, private transaction, commerce, trade, worship, meetings and conference, or merely incidental, no, to as definite purpose, such as but not limited to hotels, motels, transient dwellings, public conveyance, or stop terminals regardless of whether the offender had knowledge that there are persons in the said buildings or edifices at the time it is set on fire, and regardless also of whether the building is actually inhabited or not. So for number three, any train or locomotive, ship or vessel or airplane is devoted to transportation or conveyance, no, or for public use, entertainment or leisure. for a while.
Lakaw lang yung ganin.
May klase pa ko. Okay, sige. So, na yung mga teacher diri oh.
Hello. Ano magalas ko ah?
Kailan mo ninyo mga teacher? Si
Yes,
Sir
ma'am.
Pendang at
Dite.
saka si Sir Dieter. Two joints daw.
O, di ba? Sana siya. Ano? Diba?
Two joints. Oh.
Eh, ano
Paano
ba?
sila icebreaker para ma-inspire mo? Para ma-inspire mo sa inyong pagklase.
Paklase mo.
At
Paklase mo.
saka for the number four, no, any building or factory, warehouse, installation, and or any which are devoted to the service of public or utilities. So for this also, no, any building, the burning of which is the purpose of concealing or destroying evidences of another violation of law, or the purpose of concealing bankruptcy or defrauding creditors, or to collect from insurances. And the penalty of liquidation perpetua to that shall be imposed upon any person who shall burn the following. So for number one, any arsenal, shipyard, storehouses, or military powder or fireworks factory, storehouses, archives, or the general museum of the government. And for number two, in an uninhabited place, any storehouses or factory of inflammable or explosive materials. So, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, no? And we also have here the testimonial evidence in arson. So, for this one, testimonial evidence is the testimony given in court or the disposition by one who has observed that to which he is testifying, or one who thought he has not observed the facts is nevertheless qualified to give an opinion relative to such fact. Usually, they give the firefighters or those arson investigators, no, sila yung ating magbibigay ng mga testimony. So, that is the end of grade 3 to 4 fire technology and arson investigation. And this is Miss Malaya teaching and of week 8 to 9, part 3. So, that was the end of our lesson, no? So, do you have any questions or clarifications before I give my final instructions to everyone? Questions? Walang katanungan? Okay, how about your final requirements? Kumusta?
Grabe si Mauro mag-final requirement kasi
Ano pa lang, ma'am?
Okay.
ito ko, sayo laman sila sa kung final requirements.
Okay, sige. So, try to formulate and coordinate to your underclassmates, no, for your final requirements. So, again, no, for your final requirements, if nakapasa kayo, that is considered as 100, no, on your grade. And katong wala ni appeal o cooperate, so they will not have a grade of 100. So, ako na bahala ato nila kung di sila mag-cooperate. Okay, so questions?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.
Walang katanungan? Okay, so standby muna tayo kasi I'll give my final instructions later on. Okay? So, dyan muna kayo.
Okay po, ma'am. Cut.
Okay, everybody? Sige, do you have any questions before we end the class at 6:20? Katanungan regarding final requirements, yung inyong mga exams, quizzes, and all? Meron ba? Questions?
Wala po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. If you do not have any questions, no, again, I would like to tell everybody, no, nga on our next meeting, please encourage your other classmates nga magsulod jud so that they'll be able to grasp all the inputs that I will give. Okay? Sige. Sige, if you do not have any questions, show us your faces po for our photo documentation for this evening. Sige, pakita ang mga gwapo o ang gwapa nga naong sa mga estudyante. Apil kag screen capture. O, dali.
Email ko.
Okay, apil lang si Sir Dom sa inyo.
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir.
Hi, sir. Hi,
Taga-HR.
sir. Good evening, sir daw.
Hello.
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir. Okay, sige. Alright, everybody, show us your widest smiles on 3, 2, 1, smile. Alright, everybody, thank you very much for attending this evening's class. I hope you've learned something from me. I will see you again next week. Puhon-puhon. Goodbye, babush paalam, and happy weekend po sa lahat. You can now leave po. Bye-bye!
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Very much welcome, everybody. Okay po.